righty, welcome to the VET S.O.S. Veteran Educational Resources Spotlight. I am your host, Dr. Hira. Remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S. Lifeline. VET S.O.S. is brought to you by the Who You Know Network and is a proud member of the Parade Deck community. Today, we are lucky to be sitting down with Mary Bier. MBA is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Military Child Education Coalition. MCEC?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
As a military spouse and parent, Bier has firsthand insight into the unique challenges and strengths of the military families. This lived experience fuels her passion for advocating for military-connected students, ensuring they receive the educational support and opportunities they deserve. Bier's professional background spans both the corporate and nonprofit sectors, where she has successfully led high-impact initiatives, built collaborative partnerships, and served as the subject matter expert on veteran and military family issues. She has been invited to the White House to share insights on military-connected programs, testified before the New York City Department of Veterans Affairs, and facilitated expert panels on military family well-being, and somehow has carved out time to join us here on the show. So thank you, Mary, for being here today. How are you?
I am so well. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
We are excited. And so obviously from your bio, we understand there's probably a strong passion of why you ended up doing this work, but where is your family in the military career stage, and how has that kind of led to where you are now?
Yeah, well, I think it's worth noting that I actually didn't grow up in a military family. I married into it.
Yeah.
So I am a military spouse of an actively serving Army officer. We've been married for about 13 years. I am also a parent of military-connected children. So supporting our military-connected families, particularly the military-connected child, is important to me because it's so personal.
Yeah.
I have a 6th grade daughter and a 5th grade son. And since they started elementary school, we've moved 5 times, including moves here within the States, as well as overseas and then back again. And with each move, we've had to help our kids adjust emotionally, socially, academically. And some of the places that we've lived in have had really good supports in place.
Right.
And others have not. For those of us that are connected to the military, we know that this isn't unique. This isn't something limited to just my family. It's something that military families face every single day. And in fact, the data tells us that the average military child moves an average of 6 to 9 times before completing high school. So I mentioned this before, I didn't grow up in a military family, but I did grow up in a family of child psychologists. And from a very young age, my parents demonstrated to me the importance of both advocating for our children and giving them a voice.
Yes.
And so it's such a privilege to lead an organization like the Military Child Education Coalition, where we get to do these things for our military-connected kids each and every day.
I love that. Perfect segue. So let's talk about the organization and the mission. What does that look like?
Yeah, so I came to MCEC in January of 2025, and here at MCEC, we support all military-connected kids by educating, advocating, and collaborating to help overcome those challenges that occur as a result of the military lifestyle. We have been around for over 25 years, and we've proven that partnering with schools and educators and empowering them with the tools and the training that they need to help our kids during those times of transitions really creates individuals who are college, work, and life ready. And I think one thing that sets MCEC apart is how we validate our programs and our initiatives through research. This is something that we've been committed to doing from the very beginning. We have a science advisory board that includes volunteers who work in the fields of psychiatry, psychology, research, public policy, all here to evaluate our programs and ensure that we're actually meeting the needs of the modern military family today.
Yeah, I love that. It's important. There's an evolution, right? You know, there's going to be the changes and different needs over time. So that's wonderful to hear. And so what's the nature of your program, and what do the services and supports look like for those who may be looking for it?
Yeah, so we focus our programs to serve 3 different groups of individuals. It's the educators, it's the parents, and the students.
Love it.
And for our students, I can highlight several programs, 2 that are the most longstanding. These are very popular programs, and we also want to talk about one of our newer programs as well that's been around since 2023.
Okay.
So to start, I'll highlight our student-to-student program. We also refer to this as S2S. And this is our peer-to-peer mentoring program. It's available for elementary kids, military students, as well as high schoolers. And this brings military and civilian children together to welcome new students, to create that environment at school that's both welcoming and supportive, and to help kiddos with their academic excellence during those times of transition. So I can speak personally to this program. I mentioned this before, but my kids have moved 5 times since starting elementary school. And I can say that being at schools that have this type of peer-to-peer support in place truly does make a difference. We moved in June of 2020. My husband was deployed for a year. We moved to a new area where we didn't know anyone. We had no family. But we were so lucky because we had a school there that was military culturally competent, that understood the military community, and they had supports in place to support my kids as they transitioned into a new school. So they acclimated more quickly. They had that sense of belonging very early in the school year, and it really did help reduce anxiety about friendships, which, as we all know, is one of the key challenges that kiddos have when they move around as much as they do.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So another program that we have that's targeted more towards our older kiddos in high school is our Frances Hesselbein Student Leadership Program. This is an extension of student to student for high school kids. And for those that are active in their S2S chapter, they have an opportunity to participate in this week-long immersive leadership experience. This program was started 21 years ago. It's held at either West Point in New York or the Air Force Academy in Colorado. And it's an incredible opportunity for them to enrich their leadership and their team building skills. So they engage in leadership development, civic engagement, and as they also have a community involvement activity piece as well to help prepare them for their work in the real world. During this week-long experience, they gain confidence, they build those core competencies, and they strengthen their commitment to build their S2S chapter back at home. And the third program that I want to highlight is the one that I mentioned that started in 2023. And this one is specifically for our caregiving youth. This is our Caregiving Youth Student Leadership Program. So caregiving youth are kids who contribute and provide both physically and emotionally. They give the support and care at home for a family member who may have been injured in ways that we can see or in ways that we cannot see. So students engage in leadership activities and lessons focusing to help them prepare for college work or life after high school graduation. This is a program that we offer twice a year. It's 5 days long each time. It's held in February and October, both held in Military City, USA in San Antonio, Texas.
Awesome. Great programs, great opportunities. And, I think having being a military spouse myself and seeing the challenges of and concerns around that upheaval and how do we connect and how do we support programs like this can be such a lifeline. And so students can stay connected starting, it sounds like, at a very young age all the way through completing K-12. Is that correct?
That is, yeah. And that's one of the things that I think it's important for folks to understand, especially if they're not connected to the military. I think 60% or so of military connected children are under the age of 13.
Yeah.
And so having those types of supports in place academically, emotionally, and socially really do help prepare students for those later years from 14 to 18 when they're, completing high school and moving on post high school graduation.
Just a quick question for the educators, because, there are going to be the educators who are near the military installations that are like, yes, we know our classrooms are going to be full of these students. But my spouse has done a couple stints on recruiting duty, and you're embedded into the local communities that may not be as close to an installation. And so if an educator says, oh my goodness, I've never had, a military connected student before, how do they reach out and connect if they feel they need support in working with that child?
Absolutely. Yes. So we have a program for educators. We have professional development available online through webinars as well as
Right.
on-demand resources. They can always reach out to us at the Military Child Education Coalition, and we would be happy to connect them with those resources. Similar to you, we have also been in duty stations that are considered remote or not near a
Yeah.
traditional installation. And so having that education around what does it mean to be a part of the military? What are the questions to ask when a new student comes in? How do you help support them and learn what interventions have been helpful before?
Yep.
I completely agree that these are the types of supports that educators they want them. They want
Yeah.
their kids to succeed. So how can they get them? They can get them by contacting MCEC.
Love that. And that I can imagine for them just knowing that is a wonderful thing.
I hope so.
And time is going to fly during this conversation. I want to make sure we give plenty of time to talk about any upcoming events or opportunities that you feel our listeners should know about.
Yeah, thank you for that. We do have a couple of upcoming events that may be of interest to both educators and students. We did talk about that Frances Hesselbein Student Leadership Program. For folks that are listening, they are lucky because we are currently opening applications up
Oh,
for
great.
students that are interested. So we are opening up our fall cohort. This one will be held at West Point in October. The application window closes on September 15th. So for those that might be interested, we encourage them to get their applications in now. It's a highly competitive process. We would love to consider all students for this. We also have two exciting global training summits coming up in September. We have one in Atlanta on September 22nd and another in Austin, Texas on September 26th. So our global training summits, or our GTS events, are our premier professional development opportunities for youth serving professionals, teachers, school counselors, principals, superintendents, etc. We also present a full agenda for our student teams. So this is a really exciting opportunity to bring student to student clubs together to help train them on how they can support military connected children during those transitions. For both military kids and civilian children, they're invited to attend. Our student educators have so much planned. We are really excited for these events. So
Yeah.
those are two opportunities that we welcome all folks to look into.
Excellent. I know some people say, oh, this sounds great. What's the lift on our end? Is there any fees or costs associated with any of the programming that is offered?
Great question. So for the Frances Hesselbein Student Leadership Program, that is completely free. There's no cost to the attendees. We are so grateful to our sponsors and our donors who support this program. For our global training summits, there is a registration fee depending on whether or not the school or the district is a part of another larger MCEC effort. They may be included in that. So I encourage folks to go to our website to learn more. And I would be remiss, Dr. Hira, if I did not comment on another opportunity for our students. And this is a new opportunity that opened up just this year. It's a new partnership that we have with Columbia Southern University, and it's a scholarship that we're offering seniors in high school. This is our Heroic Hearts Scholarship. And it's an opportunity for a high school student to receive 4 years of tuition for technology, for college fees. And to be eligible, students need to have, they need to be in good academic standing. They need to be a senior during the 25-26 school year so that they can begin classes in the fall of 2026. So any military connected student that's children of active duty folks that are a National Guard or Reserve, a veteran, they can all apply. We are giving priority consideration to students that are acting as caregivers, but this is open to all military connected students. The application window opens in September and it will close in February.
What an opportunity. I'm glad you discussed that. So I'm sure listeners will be very interested. As I mentioned, time does fly. So before we fully close out, I did want to make sure, is there any final piece of information about your programming that you would like to share, or the organization, or just a piece of advice for the community itself?
Yeah, I would like to comment on it. Thanks for the opportunity. I think that if there's one thing that I could offer community members listening in, is if you have a military family moving in nearby, or if you know that there's a military connected student in this school that attends school with your child, lean in, say hello, make that first connection, make that introduction, and take that first step. Those can be so meaningful, and it takes such a little lift on your end. So reach out, be welcoming, and say hello.
I love that. And yes, it all starts there with a simple hello.
It does.
So thank you, Mary, for joining us on the VET S.O.S podcast today. On behalf of the VET S.O.S family, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You can find the VET S.O.S podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, and social media platforms. Make sure you subscribe and follow VET S.O.S so you don't miss a thing. And remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S lifeline.